Welcome back to Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, 1330 WEBY. Carl speaks with ontological certitude and theological indubitableness. For you liberals out there, this means that Carl knows who he is and that he is unashamed to be on a first-name basis with God. Now, here's Carl Gallups.
All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. We're at the bottom of our second hour, and like I have been promising you, our upcoming guest, Ben Barrack. He's on the line. We're going to bring Ben Barrack on in just a moment. Ben Barrack is an investigative radio host. He's a blogger. He broadcasts out of Central Texas, the mighty KTEM. You can hear him every Sunday morning, 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time. His columns have appeared on Pajamas Media, Human Events Media, Big Government Media, WorldNet Daily, and others. He's a strong critic of the mainstream media. That's why we like him here, and that's why we're going to have him on the show today. You can go to his website, www.benbarrack.com. Now, Barrack is spelled B-A-R-R-A-C-K. It's pronounced like the Army barracks, but it's spelled B-A-R-R-A-C-K, benbarrack.com. Very soon at carlgallups.com, the Freedom Friday link, I'll have him in the VIP guest section. You can click on it and go straight to his website, just in case you're on your drive home right now and you can't write all this stuff down. But Ben Barrack, welcome to Freedom Friday. Let's talk about something important.
Absolutely. Nice to be with you, Carl. Thanks.
That's a tagline from your show, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've added a new one. It's Barrack, not Barack, but I didn't have to tell you that.
That's a good. No, you don't have to tell me that. Well, Ben Barrack, listen, first of all, we're just honored to have you on WEBY and Freedom Friday. We've got a large regional audience. We broadcast to portions of 4 states on the Gulf Coast. We have a huge national audience through our live stream over the Internet, and we market the show heavily on the mega viral ppsimmons properties all over the Internet. So you've got a lot of folks listening to you right now, and it's our honor to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Listen, the main reason I had you on, I know you've got some scoop for us on this jihadi takeover. The Arabic news giant is taking over. Al Jazeera is taking control of Al Gore's network. Tell us everything you know about that.
Wow. Well, you know, Al Jazeera is kind of, we have over the last 10 years, ever since 9/11, we have witnessed the onset of stealth jihad, and the Islamists in the United States have figured it out. They've figured out that the best way to co-opt the American people's psyche is to pretend that there's something they're not, is to reach across the aisle, the interfaith dialogue, the tolerance, the Islam, the coexist crowd. Well, before 9/11, you had the executive director of CARE, Nihad Awad, pledge allegiance to Hamas, and you had Salam al-Mariyati, the head of the Muslim Public Affairs Council, on 9/11, say that Israel should be put on the subject list. Since then, these individuals don't talk like that anymore because they realize that that's not the most effective way, and they're very stealth in their actions. The same goes for Al Jazeera. In the months after 9/11, Al Jazeera was entity non grata, if you will, because it was basically a platform. If y'all remember, it was a platform for Osama bin Laden to spew his rhetoric with videos, and also Al Jazeera, rubbed raw the sores of Arab discontent at the time with all of its gory, bloody news footage, and it seemed like they were always blaming the Jews for it.
Yeah, and weren't they the ones running the footage of beheading various Americans and running the footage live? Yeah,
that's right. And what that did is it emboldens the Arab world, and Al Jazeera said, well, if it bleeds, it leads, and it's all about ratings and whatnot. But they too, they like Al Mariyati, they featured David Duke back in 2002 of KKK fame, American Nazi Party leader, and he said on Al Jazeera that the Mossad knew about 9/11 beforehand and warned the Jews. So we're dealing with an entity, and I'm in the process right now of writing another article on this. What people need to understand about Al Jazeera is, and they're going to be broadcasting from New York, ironically enough. And I couldn't help but think about, if you remember, the Dubai Ports World deal back in 2005, 2006. where there was a huge outcry that Dubai ports should not be allowed to do business in the United States.
Yes, I do remember that.
Well, this is very similar to that. It's also similar to the Ground Zero Mosque. This is a stealth infiltration. But what's different is that a former vice president of the United States is the one who's giving it to them on a silver platter.
Yeah, well, he's being rewarded handsomely. I mean, doesn't he have the 30 pieces of silver? Aren't they being handed to him?
Absolutely. I mean, current TV has been a fledgling outfit.
Yeah.
And he's a one-fifth owner, and he gets $100 million.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he tries to take advantage of the Bush tax cuts before they expire.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. It seems his hypocrisy knows no bounds.
No, this is choke a donkey.
Yeah,
this is choke a donkey. But you know this Al Jazeera thing. There's two examples that came to mind as I just began thinking more and more about this. You have Yusuf al-Qaradawi, who is the spiritual head of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right.
He moved to Qatar in 1961 because he had been arrested in Egypt 3 times for his connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. So he found refuge in the government of Qatar, and Qatar is the government of Qatar is who owns Al Jazeera. So he's got his own program on the show, and as recently as 2009 on that program in Arabic, he was extolling the virtues of Hitler and saying he didn't. Next time it'll be somebody doing what Hitler did, but it'll be a believer. So I mean, this guy has been spewing all kinds of vile anti-Semitic rhetoric for years.
Right.
So for anybody that says Al Jazeera is kind of they've moderated and this and that, well, 2009. Al Jazeera in Qatar, in Doha, was airing this unbelievably anti-Semitic material.
Right.
So you've got him now. You've also got this is what I think maybe not as many people know about Musa Ismail Obama, who is the cousin of Barack Obama. During an interview with Al Jazeera in Doha in 2011, Musa Ismail Obama volunteered in Arabic, and it's always Arabic is where the answers are because you get a much watered-down version.
In English, when it's translated to English. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, when he was talking to Al Jazeera in Arabic in 2011, he divulged that Mama Sarah, who is Barack Obama's great-grandmother, had the Mama Sarah Children's Foundation, ostensibly to provide support and money and humanitarian aid to children. Well, what he said to the interviewer was that this money is going to fund the education of Kenyan children in Saudi Arabian Wahhabist schools. But what he also said in that interview was that those schools become so crowded because they're sending so many kids over there they can't handle them. The overflow, guess where it goes?
Where?
Qatar.
Ah.
And so you have a situation here where all of the signs point to this being a major example of the doublespeak that you and I and probably most of your listeners understand exists out there. It's stealth jihad. It's saying one thing in Arabic and saying something completely different in English.
Well, let me ask you this: what's your final analysis then, or what do you think the final impact will be of Al Jazeera taking control of Al Gore's network? I mean, nobody watches it now. So do you think? I mean, I don't want it to happen, but if it does, and apparently it's going to, what do you think the impact will be?
Well, I look to what's going on with the liberal media. I mean, if you look at the mainstream media in the United States over the last 10 years, it has gone.
Yes,
it has lurched dramatically to the left, and it's been effective because it's been propaganda. It's been lies and propaganda. And they have used their platform, MSNBC as the poster child for all of this, but CNN and ABC, NBC, CBS, all to some extent, have used this platform that they have to push a left-wing agenda. And because they are considered to be an objective media outlets, people listen to it. So I think Al Jazeera has look. The Islamists in this country, you've got to tip your hat to them with one respect. They know our culture better than most of us even know it, and they exploit it. They know how to use it, and I guarantee you, they have been watching how the left-wing media, mainstream media, has been operating over the last decade, and they in fact, I believe in many cases they're part of it. They're involved in it,
Yeah.
And so what I would expect is that Al Jazeera will be extremely watered down. It will begin with subtly anti-Semitic kind of stuff.
Right.
Because at the core of Al Jazeera, I mean, if you go from Doha, the Qatarian government, and then on to Al Jazeera English, and now what's going to be called Al Jazeera America, you're going to see I think they're going to follow the lead of what we've seen in the left-wing mainstream media in the United States, but they'll do it they'll divide people along maybe not so much liberal and conservative lines as they will possibly Arabic versus
Right.
anti-Semitic versus pro-Israel lines.
Right. Golly, Ben Barrack. You know what? I pride myself on producing shows where when folks listen, they hear things and good factual stuff that they're not going to hear anywhere else. They're not going to hear. Well, they're not going to go to Fox News and turn it on. No one's going to hear this on Fox News tonight.
Right.
So
I'm trying.
I know you are, and we're trying to get you there. But thank you so much for being a part of this show today, and thank you for educating our audience as to what's happening with Al Jazeera, and also for your brilliant analysis. Your spot-on analysis. God bless you for that.
Thank you, Carl, and God bless you right back.
Yeah, and listen, before we let you go now, tell folks again about your website. And you've written a book. It's entitled Unsung Davids, 10 Men Who Battled Goliath Without Glory. I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been a senior pastor of a large church here on the Gulf Coast for 27 years as well, so I've been in the full-time gospel ministry for 30 years, and I was a former law enforcement officer before that. So when I saw that title, I said, I've got to ask this guy about it. Tell us about your book. Tell us the basic theme of it and what you want us to know about it in a few seconds, and then tell folks where they can get it.
Okay, awesome, Carl. I appreciate that. Yeah, like you, I'm in radio. I get to interview a lot of interesting people, and I took the 10 most fascinating individuals who I saw as fighting the good fight, regardless of the consequences and regardless of the odds. These are real people who fought, really superior opponents. And they fought the good fight, and there was victory in each of the 10.
Wow.
But you sometimes fighting a good fight is victory in and of itself. But what these men did was just mind blowing to me, and I think we need a lot more of that today.
Yeah.
And you can just pick it up at Amazon.com, Unsung Davids, and these are really heroic people that I think we could all learn something from.
Okay.
Just fearlessness,
well,
and it was really amazing to read and write their stories.
I bet. Well, it sounds fascinating, and I'm going to pick myself up a copy, and I'm going to encourage our listeners to do the same. Ben Barrack, Thank you for being on the show today. Will you please come back sometime in the near future?
Absolutely, Carl. I appreciate it.
Okay.
It was nice to be on.
We'd love to have you back. Folks, it's Ben Barrack, www.benbarrack.com. His book, Unsung Davids, 10 Men Who Battled Goliath Without Glory. He broadcasts every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time, the mighty KTEM out of Texas. You're going to want to listen to him. You're going to want to buy his book, and we will have Ben Barrack back. Folks, we're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, more of Freedom Friday. Carl Gallups.